itsmintsalad, and I saw Star Trek the original series, Miri. It is directed by Vincent McEvety and Adrian Spies. And if you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode starts and we're following the USS Enterprise, and they discovered a planet incredibly similar, or maybe even an exact duplicate of Earth, but they're nowhere near Earth. So what is up with this Earth? Why is it just in the middle of space and there's no Earth colonies as far as this Earth is? Could I call it E-Earth, or maybe HTARE? How would I pronounce that?
Tear.
So of course, this is strange. We gotta look into this. I do like we have the entire landing party. We got a big old landing party landing on this planet. And in this planet, mid-1960s. So we're living in the past. I don't even know if it was technically in the past when this was made. When this was made, it was the mid-60s. So it was a reflection of the present, but now it's a reflection of the past, because as of date, in 2024, 64 years after the mid-60s, 60 years. I'm not a math major, alright? There's just stuff strewn about. It looks pretty abandoned. Everything looks like there's just a bunch of debris everywhere. You know, all this broken stuff. And Spock's like, oh, I'm gonna have a gander at some stuff. Oh, I'm gonna take this tricycle. I'm gonna pull together, touch it of any kind, you know, look at it, analyze it, doing the Spock thing. And then this guy just comes out. He looks to be all purple. He starts attacking Spock. He's like, it's mine. Mine. And he does that, and it's fun because I like seeing how quickly the crew can take down this dude. Like, this guy is struggling. This guy is mad struggling. We have Spock's like, oh, I'm being attacked. But Kirk's there to pull him back and punch. And the guy goes towards Spock again. He punches and he's down. And then he's crying about his broken. It looks like a tricycle, honestly. And he's like, oh, I'm just broke. I'm broke. I'm sad. Broke. And, whew, wow. Okay. This person is acting like a child. And it seems like we have landed upon a society of children. Like, everyone's here as a child. What's happening? Why is everyone here a child? This is some strange thing that's just going on. And I'm like, I hope they find the answers soon. It's weird. But also, there's this chick. The chick's just hiding. She's not a very good hider, actually. She's not good at hiding because she gets caught. But of course she's scared. She's like, the grubs, which is just grown-ups. That's what they call them. The grubs, oh, they're bad, they're evil, we're getting a little bit of history on this world, what happened. Apparently all the grown-ups got really violent, started killing everyone, angry, mad, and then it's ended up just dying. All of the grown-ups are dying. All we have left here are children. And I'm just curious as to how long it's been since this incident. I'm curious. I kept watching. There's a small group of children left. And also, we got a disease on our hands. Well, quite literally everyone in the landing party except for Spock, for whatever reason, all those people got some sort of purple thing that's starting to spread all over them. And so because we have the disease, we can't go back to them. We can't go back to the Enterprise. We can't risk any contamination whatsoever. So what we gotta do is sit here and wait. We gotta learn more information about what's happening here. Hey, Miri, take us to the hospital. And she takes him to the hospital. I do like Bones there. He's able to do medical stuff. He's the big medical brain. If he wasn't here, then nobody else would be alive at all, or have any potential of living, actually, because Bones is here to do medical stuff. And if, this is a bacteria, actually. This is some sort of bacterial growth, and Bones is here to figure out a virus, antivirus. A vaccine? Is that what it's called? He's here to figure out a vaccine. And also, I do like, we have access to the ship's computers. The ship's computers, giving them all the information, what they need. And also, yeah, he's got like 7 days left to live. And also, Miri has like 5 or 6 weeks left, because she's turning into a teenager. She's starting to think differently about her friends. And then also her friends kind of suck, because they're children, and they're not like, they don't have the priorities straight. They only care about playing, they only having fun, whatever, which is why the place is looking like what it is, because there's no maintenance happening. There's no adults in the room to be like, oh, we have to clean up because everything's looking terrible and gross, and there's a bunch of fall damage. What is the word called? Why am I blanking on this word? You could get fall damage. You could get hurt. You know, there's no adults in the room, so everything's just strewn about. Everything looks gross, unkempt. Of course it would. We're dealing with a bunch of children over here. And of course it seems to be there's a natural anger towards any adults. There's this big old group of what Miri calls the onlys. I don't know what that means. Like the only people left, maybe? But we got a bunch of these kids, and they're like, but I've got a bunch of grups over here. They're grupping around over here. We don't need them here, actually. We need to bop them. Bop, 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 bop. We need to bop them. And I'm like, no! You guys don't understand. He's trying to, like, help you. Whew. Now, as an adult, I can finally see with some perspective. I can see why children are annoying. When I was a child, I was like, I'm not annoying at all, actually. Who needs an adult? I'm sure everyone here felt like that at some point in their lives. It's a normal child thing to feel. But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I get it. I need it. I understand the necessity for adults. And this episode is a literal physical reminder that we need adults, responsible adults, to talk to children, to direct society in a way that protects them. And also, I like Yeoman. Yeoman seems the type to be very nurseful. What's the term when you're like a woman and you have a natural bond with children? Motherly? Oh, that's the purpose of women, is to be motherly towards the children, and you need children for the future. Wow, it's all a cycle. You know, Star Trek is actually making me less misogynistic. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeoman is the only person who can talk to Miri and calm her down and to trust Jim. And it seems like she developed some sort of love for Jim. I mean, they say Jim a lot because he introduces himself as Jim, Kirk does. So, and it's just throughout this entire episode, he's just referred to as Jim, so I'm going to refer to him as Jim as well, just so you know. Whoa, there's a big old kerfuffle about there's a virus on their hands and over bacteria, I can't tell. Bones says it's bacterial, and then he says it's virus. I think he says virus later on when he discovers these papers about what these people were doing. They were trying to make life go longer. They're trying to extend their lives. So the idea is that they would set off like a chain of viruses that would extend the life of a human or whatever their species is. And by the way, their species like 300 years devolved from the current Star Trek species. Also, Star Trek species? Humans? The Star Trek humans? The Starship Voyagers. What are they called? The Enterprise. What is the society called? The humans currently. The humans currently on the actual proper Earth is about 300 years advanced of this Earth from the 1960s, mid-1960s. So it's a big cultural difference, big landscape difference. I really liked seeing the Star Trek uniforms in, like, I'd say modern. It's not modern technically, but modern to the show. Modern, just them just walking around in modern times. I thought that was really cool. We got a time clicking. We got a time ticking. The clock is ticking. We only got a few days. Everyone's getting more irritated. I'm trying to find ways to make this vaccine. And maybe we have this vaccine. Whoa, we got a vaccine. I can't believe it. We gotta make sure we get touching the computers to make sure this is actually the vaccine. Oh no, our communicators were stolen. Turns out, it was actually the other kids, the only kids. And also, Miri is, like, being talked to them, convinced to lure Yeoman out, and be like, they're talking about, we're gonna get Yeoman out, and then Kirk's gonna want to follow her, and so we're gonna draw both of them out. We're gonna steal their communicators. I'm like, dude, you guys are just messing everything up. Don't you understand that he's trying to help you? Oh, because they're grubs. They're the most terrible people in the world. Meanwhile, they're making a vaccine for the disease that killed off everyone and will kill off you. And did I mention that one of their years is like a couple of months aging? Like 1 year is 1 month of aging. So these are actually, like, incredibly old children. But as soon as they die, that's the rest of them. That's all. They have no way of reproducing whatsoever because they all die off at puberty and they all get the disease at puberty, and Miri's starting to get the disease because she's starting to hit puberty. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, these dudes, they're just trying to cause issues. These they're grub haters. The onlys are just trying to cause so many problems. I'm like, stop trying to cause problems. I do like, Kirk is like, okay, I'm at where you're at. Stop that. Let me try to convince you. And it takes him a lot. It takes a lot of convincing. It takes a whole lot of convincing. Finally, convinces them not to injure him. But instead, he wants to help them out. So he goes back to the base. What's happening here? Why is Bones unconscious on the ground? Well, it's because he injected himself with a vaccine. I would also do that if I were him. Be like, I made this. I'm trusting it. This is the only way. I have to make sure this works. And he goes unconscious, but it works. He's all healed up. And it's nice. And then, presumably, they also get the vaccine, and they learn to trust him. But also, what's nice is presumably, it's not shown on screen that they all get vaccinated. But what is shown on screen, what's talked about on screen, is they're back on the Enterprise. And we have, what's nice, Kirk's like, I already called in some resources. We're gonna send people their way to help them out. You know, fun stuff like that. Help them out, teach them. We need teachers. They need to be taught. I'm like, oh my goodness, this civilization's able to be saved because they found a vaccine. Whew, amazing. I like this episode a lot. I liked the differences between children and grown-ups and how they look at everything differently. Grown-ups obviously have to deal with responsibility, have to be responsible, they have to worry about everything but making sure that everything is fulfilled. And children are just concerned about play. And as somebody who's 23 at this point, somebody who can remember my childhood, as I had started turning to teenager about 10 years ago, I can remember what I thought, and it was definitely not towards, like, responsibility, although I was at a point where I was like, I want more responsibility, I just want to be grown up, I just want to be treated like an adult, you know, stuff like that. Oh man, certainly did not appreciate that time enough. None of us do. None of us appreciate our childhoods enough. Oh, wow. But would you want an eternal childhood? I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't. Children are mean. I don't like children. I never liked children. Even as a child, I never liked other children. Oh boy. Oh goodness gracious. This episode, pretty much a movie. This episode is fun. Made me feel like, oh, there's actually reasons for adults to exist. It's so they can maintain some sort of society and order. Or else you're just going to get a bunch of debris everywhere if you're being run by a bunch of children. So I gotta give this episode, it's a solid 7.8 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one. The platform really likes that. If you want a fast track movie review, you can do that for $20. Redeem us at patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you like to help support the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to this link tree. Find the way you can support the daily grind of all them daily movie reviews. So you can go here. And until next time, mint salad sauce, see you like my salad croutons and bacon bits. Boop. Beam me up.